The Running Dream, Part 5, Chapter 15. It's the strangest start to a race I've ever experienced. There's no shouting from the blocks, no arm pumping, no push or strain. There are hundreds of runners in front of us, and we're barely even jogging as we move forward. It takes nearly 2 minutes for us to reach the starting mat. The mat is broad and rubbery, runs the full width of the street, and makes a chirping sound as it recognizes each runner's timing chip. Chirp, 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 chirp. It's like hyperactive twittering of mechanical chicks. And then we're off. I know from having run the course in training that the first 2 miles are slightly downhill, which makes the beginning of the run really enjoyable. People cheer for us, and Rosa waves and clacks her clappers in the air and calls hi and thank you. I see Mom and Dad and Kaylee and Sherlock at the sidelines, and Cairo is there too, cheering us on. You are doing great, Gavin says at the 2-mile mark. He's checking his watch. 9:30 splits. I know this is way too fast, but I feel great and figure we'll slow down now that the downhill is behind us. Splits? I snort, then grin at him. You have become such a runner. I lean forward a bit. How are you doing, Rosa? Great. Who knew I could run this fast, she says with a laugh. She looks over her shoulder. I'm loving this. How are you? Great, I call back, and it's true. I feel amazing. The course is basically U-shaped. It starts near the river outlets and passes by retail shops and commercial properties before moving through newer residential developments, older homes, farmland, and then just fields. The halfway point is the Queensland Drawbridge, which arches over the river, and then the course winds back toward the historic settlement houses and into Old Town. The finish is about a half-mile past Old Town. Since I've run the route during training, I know the easiest stretch is behind us. I need to conserve. And in the back of my mind, I'm saying, slow down. There's no way you should be running 9:30s. But I don't want to slow down. I'm having a great time. The crowds are thick. People are cheering like crazy, for Rosa and for me. There she is. There's that girl. Go, Jessica. Go, Rosa. Mario and Gavin flap their clappers through the air, and Fiona toots her horn. Thank you, Rosa calls back and waves like she's in a parade, which I guess, in a way, she is. As we pass through the residential section, the crowds thin out. There are only small pockets of people now. They call from their porches or stand on the sidewalks and tell runners, You're looking good, you're doing great, keep it up. Then the small pockets of people vanish as we run along the road through farmland. There are some cows, but they don't moo, let alone cheer. At first, it's very picturesque. The course is leveled out, the trees are lovely, and the river looks serene, but I'm relieved to spot our mile 4 pit crew, and it worries me. Why am I this fatigued? It's Lindsay Griggs and Shandell Norwood at the water station, and Lindsay is bouncing up and down in her Team Rosa t-shirt. There they are, she cries. Looking good, Shandell says, handing me a cup of Gatorade. Thanks. I gulp the Gatorade and accept an energy gel. You're almost halfway, Lindsay says. You're doing great. We press on, and I squeeze the gel into my mouth a little at a time as I run. It tastes like chocolate frosting, and it revives me a little. When I'm done, Gavin takes an empty pouch from me and asks, You doing okay? I nod, but it's only half-hearted. What's our pace? 10:30's at the 4-mile mark. You're kidding. He shakes his head. No wonder. I can't keep this up. It's killing me. He immediately drops back the pace. Hey, he calls up to Fiona and Mario. We've got to ease up a little. Fiona falls in beside me. What's hurting? I'm okay, I tell her. I keep my voice low so Rosa can't hear. I've only run this weight 5 miles before, and it took me about an hour. That's like 12s, and we're doing 10:30s. Fiona slows down even more. This better? I nod, but it's strange. It's like the damage is done and slowing down isn't undoing it. My breathing won't fall into a comfortable rhythm. My hips have a familiar ache to them, and my arms feel very heavy. When we reach and crest the Queensland Drawbridge, I am immensely relieved. Halfway there, Fiona says, pepping me along. And a bit of a downhill, I say, grateful for gravity's help with the wheelchair. A mile 6 water stop is in the middle of nowhere, an oasis in a desert of dried grass. And what's even better than the oasis is that Annie and Griselda are working the station. There they are, Griselda cries. Come and get it, you crazy people, Annie shouts. Crazy doesn't even begin to describe it. They're nuts. Wackos! A running and rolling insane asylum. Amen. We all laugh and get our cups. I actually don't feel like drinking, but I hear Cairo's voice in my head. Be smart, stay hydrated, and keep your fuel up. So I drink, and I take an energy gel, and I press on. 6 miles, I tell myself, only 4 to go. 1 + 1 + 1 + 1. It feels a little fuzzy in my head, like I've got the wrong number of ones, like I'm so fatigued I can't even count to 4. 1 + 1 + 1 + 1. And somewhere in my fuzzy mind I make a connection. That's how everything is done. 1 by 1 by 1 by 1. That's how I got through losing a leg. Minute by minute by minute by minute. Hour by hour by hour by hour. Day by day by day by day. That's how anybody makes it through anything. So I dig in and decide that's how I'll face the miles ahead. 1 by 1 by 1 by 1. Something in that makes the pain easier to take, makes the effort easier to endure, and then near the 7-mile mark I realize we're passing by the cemetery. I think about seeing Lucy's mom there the other morning. I think about her making it through what had to be the hardest days of her life, how she had to take the minutes, the hours, the days, the months, one by one by one by one. Suddenly I'm grateful that the ones I'm counting off are miles. Miles I'm able to run, miles I asked for, miles I've worked hard to race. My ones are a distance between me and victory, not days between me and tragedy. Fiona's in step beside me, and I pan out, "Lucy," and nod up at the cemetery. "Oh," she says, and her face crinkles with sadness. "We miss you, Lucy," I call up the hill. "We miss you, Lucy," Fiona calls too. All of us glance at one another, and together we shout, "We miss you, Lucy." The next stretch brings us back into neighborhoods. There aren't a lot of people out, but those who are loud and happy. Like the coffee has kicked in and the clapping is keeping them warm. "Go, Rosa!" they shout, and then they realize that they've seen us on TV. "Hey, you're those girls! Good for you! You show 'em! Go, go, go!" Mario and Gavin start up with their clappers again, and Rosa waves and giggles and shouts "thank you" to everyone who cheers for us, and keeps me going by calling to me over her shoulder, "This is the best day of my life!" With each block, the crowds get thicker. People are out on their balconies getting an aerial view. Rosa waves and clicks her clapper, but I'm slumping again, and my hips are killing me. "Mile 8, Gavin calls, pointing ahead. 2 to go, I tell myself, 1 and 1 more. I drink at the aid station, but only water, and although I try to eat the energy gel, I can't stomach it. The crowd grows noisier, but I turn inward. I feel like I've hit the rigor mortis bend of the river run. It's only 2 more miles, but it's payback time for the first 2 miles. Every step from here on in is at a slight incline. People are shouting my name, Rosa's name. I see familiar faces. I see my dad, my mom, Kaylee and her friends. How did they get here? I wave, I smile, but I don't really have the energy to do either. Sounds are murky. They're having trouble making it through the pounding from inside. I'm vaguely aware that we're passing people, runners who are now walking, but we've been passed too, by men in grass skirts. It's okay, I tell myself. You're doing great. Run strong, run strong, run strong. I don't even see the 9-mile marker as we go by. Gavin points it out. Only 1 to go, he calls, but it's like a ghost whispering in my ear. My legs are lead, my arms ache, my hips are cramping, demanding I stop, especially my left one. It's an agonizing knot of pain, and my stump? It's hot, wet, angry. Run strong, run strong, run strong. But I'm living step to step. I start counting them. I get to 50 and I start over, step by step by step by step. A young girl runs out from the crowd, touches me, and dashes away before I even know she's been there. "Go, Jessica!" I hear people shout. "Rosa! Rosa! Rosa!" they chant. Then Fiona shouts, "There it is." I know what she means. I look up, look out. There's a red and white balloon arch only 50 yards ahead. "The finish line!" Rosa cries. "The finish line!" I try to soak in the happy sounds of her voice, the ecstatic clacking of her clapper. I try to remember why I did this. "Rosa! Rosa! Rosa! Jessica! Jessica!" I dig in, dig deep. The cheering helps me find a hidden reserve. The balloon arch is growing larger, the crowd louder, larger, louder. I manage a weak wave, a smile, and then with a chirp, 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 we crossed over the finish line. I'm aware that people are taking pictures. I'm aware that the news crew is there. I'm aware that Rose is in 7th heaven, that random strangers are talking to her and treating her like a friend. "It was great, thank you," she's telling them as a race day helper cuts the timing chip off my shoe. I'm aware that my family in Cairo are there telling me how proud they are. I'm aware that we're all making our way over to Regatta Park where the breakfast celebration is being held. It's all sort of fuzzy in my head because I'm shaky and exhausted, but I'm also aware that I'm very, very happy. I'm surrounded by friends, by family, by my teammates and coach, and by warm, supportive strangers. They've all helped me in some way get over that finish line. But as we gather in Regatta Park and help ourselves to scrambled eggs, orange juice, and bagels, I realize something. That wasn't a finish line for me. 8 months ago, it was a Herculean effort to walk myself and an IV stand to the bathroom. Today I ran my friend 10 miles across her first finish line. 8 months ago I couldn't do anything. This race has made me believe that there's nothing I can't do. This is my new starting line. The end.